Hello, good morning everyone. How are you today? I hope you are healthy and excited to learn. My name is Dini. Have you ever tried to convince a friend to do something? For example, convincing them to join community clean up at the school, or maybe convincing your parents that this holiday should be at the beach, not the mountains. Well, when you try to persuade others by giving strong reason, you are actually using a very important text type called a hortatory exposition text.
Wow!
Today, we're going to learn what this text is, what its structure looks like, and why it's so useful in our daily lives. Ready? Let's get started. A hortatory exposition text is a type of the text aimed to convince the reader that something should or should not be done. The keywords are persuasion or appeal. This text doesn't just provide arguments. It also concludes with a clear appeal or recommendation. There are three main parts to its structure. The first, thesis, statement of opinion. This is the opening part. Here, the writer introduces the topic and clearly states their position or opinion. Essentially, in this first paragraph, you directly say, I believe this is important because, or this is why we must. Example, it's important for us to reduce our single-use plastics. The second is arguments. This is the core of the text. Here, the writer presents very strong reasons or arguments to support their thesis. Each argument is usually explained in one paragraph. The more numerous and stronger the arguments, the more convincing the text will be. Argument examples. In first argument, single-use plastics damage marine ecosystem and endanger marine life. The second argument, plastics take hundreds of years to decompose, so they'll pile up in landfills and pollute the soil. And the third recommendation. This is the concluding part. After giving all the arguments, the writer summarizes and gives a direct recommendation or appeal to the reader. This recommendation can be a suggestion, a call to action, or a concrete step that should be taken. Recommendation example. Therefore, let's start bringing our own shopping bags, using refillable water bottles, and avoiding plastic straws for a better environmental future. Okay, now let's answer the questions. Question number 1. What is the main purpose of a hortatory exposition text? A. To entertain the reader. B. To persuade the reader. C. To inform the reader. D. To describe a process. The answer is B. To persuade the reader. Why? Because the main purpose of a hortatory exposition text is to persuade the reader to do or not do something by presenting argument and recommendations. The question number 2. What is the function of the thesis statement in a hortatory exposition text? A. To summarize the main points. B. To introduce the topic and state the writer's positions. C. To provide evidence. And D. To recommend a course of action. The answer is B. To introduce the topic and state the writers. Why? Because the thesis statement in a hortatory exposition text serves to introduce the topic and clearly state the writer's position or opinion. Now the question number 3. What is the purpose of the arguments in a hortatory exposition text? A. To entertain the reader. B. To provide evidence and support the thesis. C. To summarize the main points. And D. To recommend a course of action. The answer is B. To provide evidence and support the thesis. The reason, because the arguments in a hortatory exposition text provide evidence and logical reasons to support the thesis and persuade the reader. Now, question number 4. What is the function of the recommendation in a hortatory exposition text? A. To summarize the main points. B. To provide evidence. C. To introduce the topic. D. To call the reader to action. The answer is D. To call the reader to action. Because the recommendation in a hortatory exposition text serves as a call to action, encouraging the reader to take a specific course of action based on the arguments presented. And the last question, number 5. What is the primary characteristic of a hortatory exposition text? A. It is written in a narrative style. B. It is based on personal opinion. C. It aims to persuade the reader. And D. It describes a process. The answer is C. It aims to persuade the reader. Because the primary characteristic of a hortatory exposition text is its aim to persuade the reader to do or not do something by presenting arguments and recommendations. So remember, thesis, arguments, recommendation. These 3 parts make a hortatory exposition text complete and persuasive. Great, we've covered the basic of the hortatory exposition text. Remember, this text isn't just for exam. It's very useful when you want to convince others about an idea or action you think important. This text trains us to think logically and systematically when forming arguments. From now on, try to pay attention when you read articles in newspaper or online. Are they trying to convince you of something? Try to identify what's the thesis, what are the arguments, and what recommendation do they provide. Any question? If not, thank you so much for your attention. See you in next lesson. Bye!